Let's see how we go. Hello, everybody, to the Mona Workshop. This week we've got a special guest, Paradox, the Monaverse videographer. I'm going to help him in Blender with some... hello, everybody, to the... That's off. Too many feedback loops. So I'm going to help him with some photogrammetry optimization in Blender so we could put that into a Mona space. So we're looking at an asset with like 1 million polygons. We're trying to get down to significantly lower. Let's do a sound check. Can you hear me, Mr. Paradox? I can hear you. I don't know if the people can. So that may be no, actually. That might be a tricky thing because the feed's going through all the stuff. So that's interesting. Hang on. I could do that, but where's the fun in that? So I am gonna tinker with that, but let's get to the screen of Blender. So I'm gonna switch over to the thing. There you are. So we have Blender. We have two faces on the stream. I just have to figure out audio. So give me a moment. How do I get that through? Hang on. So you got through my headphones, but you're talking on Discord, so that so many layers. It's tricky, right? Hang on. Let's go to voice and video. My input, that's fine. I might have to put you on the live my speaker, but NVIDIA Broadcast is pretty good with this sort of thing. So I'm going to turn that down a bit and take this off. Okay. Talk for a second.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I can hear you. Hopefully everyone else can hear you. So we'll see. We'll see. Please tell me if you can hear him and me. We'll do with that. So anyway, let's jump in. So today we're going to be looking at retopology of a photogrammetry asset. So first up, open Blender, delete everything. So select and delete. And then we need to go to File, Import, Object, I believe it was. And then find the asset that you have, which is the 1 million one. The first one, I think if it was legit 35 million, that is way too high. Actually, no. It's way too high to stream with, but it's manageable on a very high-end system. So you'd probably want around like 1 to 3 million on any particular object, and it'll take a while to load, I think. But we'll see how this goes. So import your asset.
Which one is it and what file type is it? It's the 1 million.
The 1 million, yes.
Okay, cool.
Cool. That will take a moment.
Yeah, yours does exactly what mine does. I mean, Blender says not responding, but you have to just trust it's coming. Mine's in.
Okay. Yeah. Now this. Okay, let me have a look. So your audio is low, so let me tweak that a little bit. Hang on. This is going to be interesting because hopefully NVIDIA is better at this job than I hope it is. Okay. How's that? Talk again.
Testing. Hello. My name is Paradox.
I'm wondering if that's an echo because the microphone can... how do people do this? Better. Okay. Okay, we have a better from some person. from Matt. Matt says it's better. So we'll give this a shot and see how we go. If it doesn't work very well, feel free to complain. All right. So when it comes to Blender, your favorite keys will consist of R, S, and G. G will move, S will scale, R will rotate. So we want to choose a direction. I'm going to press X at the top. Sorry, Y. No, which one? X, yeah. Press R. Select it, sorry. Press R. And then I'm going to hold left control so I can snap it in degrees.
What was the snap button again?
Left control.
Left control. Close enough.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yep, cool. So you got the right angle here. Now, if you go to the top right, you'll have 4 little circles. These are your different options to view. So you'll have sort of wireframe. You'll have just solid with no texture. You'll have texture once it kicks in. 3, 2, 1, go. Excellent. I'm great at this. And then you'll have like full rendering, so cycles or EV or whatnot. Now, because we have no lighting, there's nothing in there, so we don't have to worry about that. But the first 3 are what we're looking at today. So yeah, that's basically it.
So we're talking a little bit about this particular model.
Go for it.
So this, if everyone can hear me, this is actually the first scan I did for photogrammetry. And if people aren't aware, photogrammetry is the process of creating a 3D model from real-world assets like this sculpture, bird table thing. And the way I did this is I took something like 500 photos in a circle all the way around this. Then I threw it into a piece of photogrammetry software called Reality Capture, and it spits out a 3D object. Honestly, it is magical. The only problem with it is that it creates a massive amount of polygons, if that's the right word, Matt. So the idea is to generally bring these, what's called retopologize, bring those polygon count down so it can be used inside Mona. That is kind of the plan. And this statue was in my grandparents' garden in England, if that's nice to know. Back to you, sir.
Cool. Yeah, photogrammetry, like the poly count's nuts. Like the first asset you sent me was, yeah, as you said, about 35 million. Okay, that's just weird. And basically we sort of created. I got Paradox to make it again on the what's the asset that you create photogrammetry again? Sorry.
What, the software?
Yeah.
It's called Reality Capture.
Reality Capture.
Pretty great.
Okay.
And it has a built-in simplify tool. And you can simplify it. I mean, I've simplified this down from 35 down to 1 million, and it looks okay. The 35 million one looks so much better, so much more detailed. But any less than a million, it just looks horrible. So that you couldn't just simplify it down to like a couple of 1,000. It would look way too blocky. So that's why we need to do it in Blender.
Right. Now we got some volume again iteration. I'm just trying to figure out how to work that around. I've turned your volume up in Discord as much as possible. And then turn my volume down. So this is like the second time I've done this. I think we figured it out last time, but I forget how. So it should be... Oh, hang on. Okay. Talk again?
Testing.
Oh.
Paradox.
Okay, hang on. That's... Why doesn't that... Hang on. Properties... Ah, this might be it. Hang on. Okay, try again.
I am the Paradox. I'm
Okay.
here for the stream.
I think we have something there.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's good. Yes! We have a yes. We are there.
Hey.
We are live. Okay, cool. Moving on. Now, that's good to know. Something to check for. Okay. So, what we're going to do is basically take this 1 million polygon object down to as few as possible. Now, what you need to keep in mind is where is this going to be in the space? Like, am I, as an avatar, going to run right up to this? Or is it going to be in the distance and I can keep like quite a low polygon count? Or both. So with level of detail, I can actually create a sort of higher polygon one when I'm close to it, and then cut that down over time. So we could definitely do that in the big picture, and the techniques that we look at for the first half will be what you would do for the second half as an LOD. I have done a level of detail tutorial on the Mona YouTube, so you can check out that. And when I say you, I also mean like Paradox and everybody else who's listening. So yeah, we'll be looking at a few things with that. Okay, so now that we have our asset in there, we need a box to start building things with. Now, it could be a plane, it could be a cube. I always go a cube, but that's just me. So add a cube.
So mesh cube, gotcha.
Right. Now, the other thing is this is quite a large asset. So that cube, for example, is 2 meters.
Oh, wow.
In Mona space. So, like, you can see the grid. That's a 2 meter. Like, each unit is 1 meter. So let's, for the sake of argument, just click on the asset, press S, and then scale that down. You could use Control if you want to snap it, or... do you remember how big to the centimeter this asset was?
Not a clue.
Yeah,
it was, it's not too big. I'd probably say it's probably 0.5 meter across and maybe 1.5 meters high, something like that.
Cool. Make it as big as you want. In probably, yeah, about this. So about the size of a 2 meter square across. What I will recommend doing is select the asset you're doing and press Control A. And we're going to apply transforms. Now what that does is when you scale things in Blender, it doesn't know that it's a smaller object in the virtual world. So by applying the transforms, you're basically saying this is now a 2 meter by 2 meter object. So it comes in useful with certain techniques that you'll use, but we'll just do that as an onset. So have you got that?
Right, so I write Control A, and then I clicked the apply all transforms.
Yes.
To the... No, is that to the cube, or is that to the...
That's to your asset.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So because we've scaled it.
There we go.
Now, this is very important if you're modeling. So if you do like bevels or insets, if it's not used, if it doesn't know that it's that size, you'll get warping on. So if you go, the left and right will be thinner than the top and bottom with inset and stuff like that. So that's one of the problems there. So that will fix that. Now we just get to our asset. So what I do usually is I will delete most of the cube and just use one plane, and this is why the plane is also good, but I do this. The catch with that is you need to make it see-through so you can select all of the assets, all of the polygons on both sides, which is at the top right and the little sort of X-ray, toggle X-ray.
Let's have a look.
Okay. Select the polygons,
okay,
press delete, and then faces.
Oops. Hang on, let's do that one more time. So, so top right, I've got the little white box, which is the viewing shading. And check them on the right one. Okay, so everything's gone grey. Excellent.
Yep.
Now, how do I select this orange box?
Yep. Your thing should be a select box at the top left here. And then just select the box. Now, note that Blender will select the dots and only the dots. So I can't click on polygon, I have to click on the dot of a polygon. that is how selection works by default in Blender.
So this might be a painful process for the viewers because I am a Blender noob here.
Oh, good.
So right, so because I can click the box, but I'm not getting the edges, just the whole
yeah. Sorry,
whole
that's
line.
that's my fault. So there are like the big shift, and this is one of the things that took my head to get around, coming from 3D Studio Max, is that Blender approaches all development in different modes. So there's object mode. So if you go to the top left, you'll have object mode. There's edit mode, there's sculpt mode, there's vertex paint, weight paint, all of these things. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. This took me a while to get used to, because in 3D Studio Max, as soon as you selected an object, you have access to everything. Not in Blender. So when modifying things, you'll bounce between object mode and edit mode. There are pros and cons to it. So if I only want to edit like some of the objects, I can select those three, go edit mode, and then I've got access to all of it. Things like that. So click our cube, go to edit mode. We have our dots. Delete the polygons as faces. Cool.
Okay, so I'm selecting the whole box and just doing
not the whole box,
okay.
all but one face. So choose the face that you want to build onto your asset, like which one's facing the best direction. So I just went with this one.
And is that just the delete button?
Yep.
Or what was the...
It's delete. And then faces.
And then faces. Okay.
Yes. Now, of course, you can delete vertices or edges and all those sorts of things, but for the most part, I'll always do faces.
They've not gone. Let's try delete only faces. Do you want me to show you on my screen?
Yeah,
what
let's
I'm,
give
what
it a
I'm
shot.
getting.
Squish yours out.
Let's pull this out.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. So I've done.
Okay. So what's happening is you are currently in vertex mode. Now I use the shortcut, which is 1, 2, and 3, to change between vertex, line, and face. So if you press 3, yep.
I see. Yeah, there we go. And then I want to be.
Yeah.
So I want to be taking that and then go only faces, and we are left with. There we go.
Why do you have edges still though? Sorry, did you dissolve faces or did you delete edges?
Hang on, let's go back. So right click. Sorry, I'm gonna get all of these, delete, and then I want.
Faces
Which
at the
one
top.
is it?
Top.
Oh, just faces.
Yes.
There we go.
There we go. So what dissolve will do is we'll remove the faces, but it won't remove anything else. That's really good with edges. So if I want to delete an edge but keep the face, that's how you do that with dissolve edges. But if you want to delete things completely, then it's the top 3. So lots of choices, but you have to know which one you're sort of going for. But yes, that is correct.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Let's
Okay.
try pull back to your screen.
No worries.
There we go.
That's kind of cool. We're gonna figure out how to have two sources, like two webcam and things differently. But this will do for now. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is go up the top here. We have a little magnet. Click on the magnet. And we also need to go next to that with the snapping and go to face.
Snapping, there's a little... Oh, I see. There we go. Okay, that's pulled up a little menu.
Mm-hmm. So
And
what we're
then
going to do
I'll
is we're going to
face.
be snapping our asset onto your photogrammetry asset and then just building an object by kind of tracing your photogrammetry. So once that's connected, we press 1 to go to edge vertices.
Yeah.
Yep. And then press G to move it. And then let's just put it kind of wherever for now. So select G, move, select G, move.
G. That's kind of cool.
So by snapping to face, it's going to snap to the faces, incidentally, which is super useful. Now, it will snap to any face, not per object. Is there a way to... No, closest is what we want to do. Yeah, cool. So that's that.
That's
Got that?
cool. Okay. Yep, I'm just playing with. Let's try that. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's fine for now. It's at least in the right place.
Yeah, as long as you got it in the right place. There's always management and redoing it and cleaning it up and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, and how you do it depends on your pipeline or how you process information. So sometimes I'll sort of skip to the next section and then cut into it. Sometimes I'll go up bit by bit. So yeah, there's lots of different approaches to it. So that's that. Now, when it comes to, I'm sure you've got the basic navigation, but we'll throw that in there. If you hold Shift and middle mouse button, you'll go sort of move the whole thing around. Scroll will go in and out, and just middle mouse button by itself will move it around. I think that's it. Okay.
Yeah, just about figured that out. That's good.
Now, so once again, I'm going to bounce between vertex, edge, pretty much vertex and edge a lot. So if I'll just say vertex or edge, that's what I've jumped to. So if we go to edge, I'm going to select this one, press F, so 2, and then select that one. And then I'm just going to press E, which will extrude this to there.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And then
I
jump
see
to...
why you're bouncing between the two. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll do it constantly. So that's why hotkeys are great. I never bought in the hotkeys when I was younger. I wish I did. I would save about 3 years of my life just in hotkey use. So you can move that, adjust the vertices just a little bit, go back to 2, grab that, E, do that again. And then we have this slightly different edge over here. So we can do that. That's fine. So E to there, E to there, E to there, E to there, and so with these two, like, this is the last step. Now I'm interested in something. I'm going to get you to do something. So once you get to this last gap, tell me.
As in just to join the last two up?
Yes.
I think I'm there.
You think you're there? Okay. When you are there, select the two edges and press F, and tell me if anything happens.
I need to be in press 2 for the select that one. Do I need to select Shift to select them
Yes.
both?
So,
Okay.
That's another thing. There's so many things I've forgotten that are things you need to do. So yes, select one, hold Shift, select the second one to multi-select.
Press F.
And press F.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that... do you want me to show you that on my screen?
No, did it work? Did it connect the two?
Yep, it bridged the gap between
Yeah, cool.
them.
So, if I say F, and this is for you and everybody else, if I say F and something happens on my screen, but it doesn't happen anywhere else, the reason for that is because I have add-on, which I would recommend you adding now. So go to, well, actually, let's do this. So go to Edit, Preferences.
Yeah.
Go to the add-on section in the middle on the left.
Yep.
And then the search at the top right. And type in F2.
Is it Mesh F2?
Yes. And turn that on.
Excellent. There's the little box. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Is it just the tick?
Just turn it on. That is a useful polygon modeling tool. So sometimes we might use it, sometimes we won't. But yeah, that's a thing. Another one, while we're here, type in Loop Tools.
There we go.
And add that one.
And that one's installed as well.
And if you're doing CAD, like houses and stuff like that, maybe Archimesh. So type in ARCHI. Add Archimesh as well. We probably won't look at it today, but it's useful. Now, all of these are now in, if you go to object mode, you can add those, or loop tools. If you right mouse click somewhere, at the top of the menu, you'll have loop tools.
Oh, cool.
And the one I will use a lot is circle. So if I grab a bunch of vertices and type circle, it will put them in a perfect circle, and it's great. So I use that a fair bit. Okay. So we have our basic shape. Now we could go down, but I think up is a better direction to go because we got some cool stuff that way. So the next thing we're going to do is hold left Alt and click in line mode. Hold Alt and then click on the top.
There we go. It's kind of selected a ring around the top.
That is how you select an edge loop, and super useful, especially if you have good edge loops. So I highly recommend good edge loops. Now in this case, I'm going to move over here. I'm going to press E to extrude. Now I can move that E anywhere, but I'm going to press Z, so it just goes up and down. So Z, X, and Y will limit any action to that direction. Now, your asset here is not straight up, but that's fine. We're going to be snapping it to the object anyway. It's just getting an idea. Now, that's a little bit too high for me, so I'm going to press G, Z to go down again to there. And then Z to go in. Go back to vertex, and then snap them to where we want. Now this is where we start looking at how much detail do we want in our asset to bake onto. In my case, I think 1 is enough, but if you're getting really close into this section, you might want like 2 in there, and I could do that with a bevel, so I'll look at that in a second. So I'm just snapping all of these polygons into the corner. Because of that slight, it's not a straight object thing. So that's that. And then lines. Alt click and scale up again.
Lines.
So E.
And then Z.
Z. And then scale to make it go big. And then snap all those around to the corners once again.
Oh, I see what you've done. I think I've done it. There we go. That looks reasonable.
Now, there are tools that remesh for you, but it's not going to be nearly as clean as this. Like, this is super clean. So you would have a lot of polygons down here, even though you don't really need them. So, yeah, Z remesh will reduce the poly count, but it won't reduce it nearly as many as what we could do now. Now, just as a test, now that we have that, I want you to go to line, Alt-click this one.
Which one? Okay. So lines is 2, and then I want to go into the middle one, right between them. Okay. Alt. Yeah, which one is it?
Now over here, one of these tools is Bevel. So I use Bevel, I use Inset Faces, I use Extrude Regions, and you got some options here. So these are the ones I use all the time, and Knife, which I use with a K. But this one, which one is it? Bevel. So click on that, and then it'll have this little thing. Drag that out, and then we have that extra loop if you think it's important to put in there. So let's keep it in there.
That's just adding another... Oh, that's cool.
We can do that. Okay. Actually, no.
Excellent.
The thing is also, like, the avatar is going to be higher, so you probably won't even see the silhouette of that shape. So I'm actually not going to bevel that, but that's how you bevel. Now, above that, another tool that I use all the time is if you do, in line mode, Control R, you can add edge loops.
I see.
And if you use your mouse scroll, you can add how many edge loops to that. So I'm going to add maybe 2 for a curve. And you can then move it up or down, or right mouse click will just set to the middle. So one more time. So just make sure that, yep, that's good. So Control R will add it. Mouse scroll will add or delete loops. Left mouse button, and then you can go up or down. But I will right mouse click, and then that'll be that.
I think I've done it.
Cool.
I think.
And then once again, vertex mode, and clean those up around the asset. Now, some of them might sort of go around. Once again, you want to focus on the silhouette. So whatever kind of works, and then the normal map will kind of fix everything else. So the base shape is always about the silhouette and less about the detail, because the normal map will have most of the detail. So just nice edge loops.
Now in case of crash.
What was that, sorry?
I'm just saving quickly, just in case.
That's a good point. The one thing I never teach or say anything about. So yeah, save.
I just know how Blender can be, especially with these photogrammetry, with a lot of polygons.
Yes, for sure. Where is this? This is, what is this? This is a tutorial workshop sculpture. Cool.
Although, ironically, it's the saving that Blender seems to have an issue with right now.
Yeah. Do you want to crash your Blender? Yes.
But continue, I'll catch up.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. There we go. I'm up. I'm back.
Cool. So a lot of these ones, this is all about the curve, for example. So I look at it from a few different angles. So over here, this one looks a bit weird. So I'm going to sort of move that up there. And that looks a bit better. So going for whatever works on, once again, the silhouette is the most important thing when it comes to retopology. Yeah, these are good, I think. Yep, cool. And then do it all again for above that, basically. So E, Z for up, S for scale, and then Control R, and then we can get into it again.
Mine's definitely not looking as neat as yours. But that's fine.
After a few months of Blender, it won't be a problem. The other option, if another tool that helps you with this is being able to see the assets you're sort of retopologizing. So I turned off the, that's actually quite good. I've been using that and that's not a problem. But say, for example, I've got this, but then your asset is behind the other one. So you can go down to, I think it's this, where is it? This one. So at the rightish, the square at the top, you go to Viewport Display. Because we're editing it, this one is the view, and then just go in front. The problem with this is it will cut off that sort of thing. So if you're doing an asset this way, it's good, but if you're doing this way, it's not so good. There is, I think, a way to do backface culling, but I think you use a material for that, and I never do that. So that is one tool that you can use. The other element is, where is it? Go to wireframe, and then in front. So you just have the wireframe on the asset as well. So there's many different ways you can visualize the asset you're creating. But for me, I liked sort of the first one. So I'm going to go back to that.
How do we do that? So we're in 1. Do I need to select the whole object for that to work?
Nope. I was still in edit mode for all of that.
Oh, okay. Right. So can I show you my screen for a second?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me when.
Go for it.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so I've opened up this little boxy thing. And the viewport display.
Yeah.
How am I doing?
So
how are you doing that?
I can't because my hang on. There we go. So under the blue box that's ticked, there's in front.
Oh,
Yep.
I see. Ooh, okay.
And if you turn off the X-ray mode at the top right,
which one do I want?
the blue
It's
one. That no.
Which one is
A little bit right. A little bit right. That one.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's much. Oh,
Right.
that's much easier.
So you can do that.
See
The only
how,
problem is that. So when you're looking at the back face of your asset, it does sort of overlay it. So there's a few problems with that approach. So go with what works. So yeah, it depends on what you're making, what stage you're at. There's a lot of different elements to that, so that can help.
Excellent. Cool. I will move my screen back then.
No, no worries.
There we go.
Cool.
Whee. Cool. Yeah, you can see how my model is not perfect, but it's okay. It'll do for now.
And that's fine. Yeah, there's definitely, like, there are two different things you can work on. There's precision and then there's time. Choose one. You can't have, like, really precise and really fast unless you, like, spend forever on it. Just like any skill, I guess. So, there's that. Also, you start sort of picking or getting the idea of where are the points that I put it on? Where are good points to drag the vertex onto? And where is probably going to have a slight problem. So there's a lot of things you pick up just in the practice of doing it. So
Practice makes perfect. Awesome.
there's that. Okay. All right.
You'll soon realize I'm not very good at multitasking, so talking, listening, and blendering is a struggle for me, but we'll get there.
I know those feels. Okay. So far we've sort of gone to the key points and then added them. For this bit here, I'm just going to add a little bit of height and then scale it. So just to show a different approach. Yeah, let's just do that. So E, X, let's go maybe... Yeah, this detail, like, there's no curve. Like, if you look at here, there's a lot of detail in there, but there's no curve. So I'm actually going to do this with a single rather than any detail there. One, because it saves time, and two, because you don't really need it on this part. So done. I may... No, not even, because if you look at this edge, it's so subtle. Yeah, I'm not even going to worry about it. So just one there. That works. Loop that. E, Z to go up. Scale it a little bit, I guess, but yeah, once again, Snapping to all of the key points. Now, these interior bits get a little bit tricky, but that's fine. I'm gonna move that maybe over there. As you won't see the silhouette of that because it's all in there, it's less of a problem. We also have this bit which is bigger than the other side. So I don't know if that's is that a photogrammetry or is that what the concrete really looked like?
I mean, the scan will be as close as to the real thing as possible. I imagine this was handcrafted, so it's possible that it's not perfectly symmetrical. Okay, great. Before we move on, like just remind me because I'm just what's the button to select the edges again? I know it was E. I think was that
the edges. So 2 is edges, E is extrude.
Yeah, and okay, so that'd be but to select like the ring around the top of the
that is Alt left click on line mode.
Are we on line mode? Yes. Line mode is so let's have a look.
So 2 and then Alt
left click.
And then click.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. I'll show you my screen again.
Sure.
Okay, so hello. So Alt left click. It's only selecting unless it's something to do with these.
Now why didn't that select? Hang on. Do that again.
I'm holding left Alt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For some reason I was clicking that one and it doesn't do it, but these ones it does.
So what I think you've done is you've extruded that edge just a little bit, so there's actually 2, so it's not a proper loop. Like that edge loop has to be a proper loop, and if there's any modification, it will cut out. So let's go into vertex mode.
Yeah.
1.
And then
select those 2 polygons. And right mouse click.
Yeah.
Go down to merge vertices. Yep.
This one.
Down.
Yeah.
No, merge vertices.
Oh, sorry, not mirror.
And go at center. Okay. And do the other edge as well.
I imagine. Yeah. Okay, I did wonder. Yeah. So that's something that if you weren't here, I'd have no idea what I'd done. Merge vertices at center. Right. Let's try that again, shall we?
Try again.
There we go. Excellent. Thanks.
Excellent.
Cool. Right. Back we go.
Yeah. Have at it. Now, what I'm going to do with this bit is I'm going to... Yeah. So I'm going to E this one. So go straight up. Z to go on the Z axis. Not going to worry about that too much. I'm going to add 1 loop in there and scale that out. And what I'm going to do is with the Bevel Tool, and once ago that could be Control B, but controls are too much work. So let's put you back on that. So controls are too much work, so I'm going to do a little bit of that, which will do just a little bit. But then I'm going to go down here. So when you use any tool in Blender, down in the bottom left, you'll come up with a little tool that gives you all of the details. So in this case, I actually want to add maybe 3 segments because this is getting a little bit higher. The width, I'm going to be a little bit higher to about there. Shape can do some interesting things, so like that. We're building... Hey Rainbow Slush. I'm doing retopology on a photogrammetry that Paradox, our Mona videographer dude, has conveniently donated to the cause. So we're sort of throwing that. So we're basically tracing this to make a low polygon version in comparison to the high polygon version. So that's the plan. Okay. So with these settings, I can add some settings, I can add segments, I can change the shape a bit, so I can push it out a bit, but I kind of want to leave it at 0.5 because it is sort of the curve there. Material index is adding materials. We don't really want to worry about that. And yeah, loop slide. And things like that. So that allows us a little bit more options in regards to how we can add a bevel. So I'm going to do that and then press S, make it a bit bigger, and then it's pretty close. Now that said, I'm still going to use G to place all of the assets correctly. But using that tool, we can sort of get a better start in a different way than we've done so far. 20 million ways to do any one thing when it comes to modeling. Now here we have that, which is a little bit, yeah, we want to do that one. So you've got that loop in there, but once again, you probably won't see it as an avatar, so you don't really need to change it.
Those look so much better than mine.
I have done so much retopology, it's like ridiculous. Because I like working on characters, like you have to retopologize all the time, and you get very good at it. Because it takes a long time. And you're... Well, this, especially up here, this is going to be really interesting. But when it comes to characters, you're looking at like arms and eyes and heads, and there's a lot of detail in there that you try to... And not only with characters, you can't just do whatever edge loops you want. It has to be good edge loops for animation and things like that. So, yeah, it's a whole... It's a thing.
I've done something and got myself lost.
All right. Do you want to share your screen to talk it through?
There we go.
Okay, hang on.
So, I just can't find the... It's not selecting anything anymore.
Okay, so go to Object Mode.
Object Mode. Yeah.
Yep. Now, just as a shortcut, you can do that by pressing Tab. And you'll usually jump between Object Mode and Edit Mode. So you could do that. But now you're in Object Mode, Edit Mode, back again,
there we go.
Object Mode. Click on your asset that you're creating.
Oh, which one is it? It's that one. Yeah.
Nope, that's the high polygon.
Oh.
So at the top right, that's it. And then press Tab again.
There we go, we're in Edit Mode.
I think you've hidden it or something. What have you done?
I don't know.
Okay. It's not hidden, so it's still there. Have you locked it? Maybe. Click on the... Okay, go back to Object Mode, sorry.
Tab.
Yeah. Click on... No. Open the cube asset arrow. On, yeah, that.
There we go.
Okay.
Do I click the cube?
Press G and see if you can move it. Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm just... There we go.
Undo. So it's selected. Press Tab again.
Edit
Press
mode.
1.
1.
Select the object.
Oh, wait, hang on. It's going to be...
Yep.
1. Yeah.
And press G.
Okay, so it's just not showing. It's a display thing then. What have I done?
Ah, okay, I see it. Top right, yep, that one there.
This one?
Yep.
Okay. Right, it's the little things, isn't it?
Yes. And the thing is, there are some shortcuts you'll press by mistake and it'll do something and you have no idea what you've done. So,
and you can see, whilst we're on mine, you can sort of see what I'm doing. It's definitely not good. I think I was playing around with bevels here. So I was like, control line, okay, so, and then am I right in thinking if I want to bevel this, it's just click the bevel and then drag this thing? There we go. And then you said there was a, you can use a scroll wheel to add segments. Is that
Okay.
not this?
So go back, undo.
Yeah, there we go.
For bevel,
Bevel
no,
or-
not for bevel. So the scroll for adding is adding edge loops, which is a different tool. So
Gotcha.
if you let's go delete.
Really?
No, in line. So go to line mode.
Oh, sorry. We need to be in 2. There we go.
Yeah.
Then
Press delete. And
Okay.
go dissolve
Dissolve
edges.
Edges.
Yep. That'll get
Right,
rid of
okay,
that.
so you're just getting rid of that bit.
Now,
okay, gotcha.
if you go Control R on that edge
this
somewhere.
is the one I forgot.
Yeah. And then now you must scroll. Yeah.
Okay. So what does Control R represent? Because obviously it's adding a loop, but I just gotta remember Control R does this. Okay. Let's do 3. I think 3 is enough to get a nice. 3 is fine.
Yeah, 3 will do.
Yeah, I can always add more, right? Oh, and then it's saying where do you want to put them?
Yes.
In the middle, please.
Right mouse click in this situation.
Say again.
Right mouse click. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay,
what's
beautiful.
happening is because it's snapping, like the snap mode is on, that scroll up and down isn't so good.
Gotcha. So you can turn that off with the
So if
little
you turn that
magnet
off
at the
and
top.
then do that again, you can move it up and down as much as you want, which is useful in other situations, but with the snap on, it's a little bit flaky. So I will right mouse click and then do as I need to.
Excellent. And that does. That's cool. Not that I need that. Let's go back. Okay, cool. Right. And then from here, I can then take the lines and bevel those lines. Is that correct? Get that
If
lovely
you wanted
curve,
to,
or am I
yeah,
not?
you could 100% do that.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'll experiment, but I'll let you get back to it. Here is your screen back, sir.
Oh, yeah. Pew.
Oh, that's my face.
You there?
Is there a better way for me to do that?
No, I think because there's overlap, I could do like a middle screen, so it's like you figure it out and then I go to the next one. There is a way to do it, but we'll do that another time.
Another day. Gotcha. Yeah.
That's a tomorrow map problem.
Sweet.
Under the circumstances, I think the results are pretty good.
Oh, let's try this bevel. Nice.
Okay.
So we're getting there. We're nearly up to the top. I've absolutely no idea how you're going to do this next bit.
Yeah, it's gonna
we'll
like
see.
this would take a long time. Like it's not. This is not a short process. We might do a bit of it, but to be honest, that would be that and the flowers, like this area down here. This bit maybe not so much, but these like chunky bits, that would take a fair bit of time. So I can go over some of it, and this is more like what a character would be. So I'm very used to it. But yeah, it's not fast. There is no like instant button that fixes that, unfortunately. And the thing is, like this is where you could possibly look into retopology tool. So I could grab that, make a duplicate, retopologize it, and like stick the two pieces together. So there's definitely ways to do it. I haven't done that very often, and I'd like to focus on just what we're doing for this session. But at some point, I do want to play with remesh in Blender because it's pretty good. And if you don't have the time, say you have a deadline or something, you could definitely use a remeshing tool, either in ZBrush or in Blender, to sort of save some time on that. So yeah, there's definitely ways. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select some of these edges, especially the corners. So I'm actually using Alt to select the loop and then holding Shift to multi... Thanks, Johnny. But that's exactly what we're doing. So I'm using Alt to select the loop and then holding Shift to multi-select the loop. And I'm just doing the corners, not the internal ones. And I'm going to use Bevel to add a bit of a bevel. Because it adds that little bit of...
oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, because the model would not have perfect edges, not at all.
No.
It's old and weathered, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Finish each... We're going to finish each other's sentences by the end of this tutorial, Johnny. That's what we're aiming to do. We'll figure it out. Now note that some of those bevels did change the scale a little bit. So, and because the object is not straight, it's a bit of a tricky one. So, and I definitely don't want to like edit all of these. So I could scale it a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm going to press S, scale up a little bit, and then leave it at that. Cool. Alrighty. So, what I would probably do if I was doing this real, I would skip the middle bit and then just jump to this stop so I can finish more of it so it looks cool. But
that's what I did.
Yeah. That said, I would like to try and do some of it. So, I kind of like, where's the face side? I'm gonna do this side. Now, on this platform, like, we don't have any polygons where this is going to need a lot of polygons. And this is where you have to decide, do you want the whole asset to be one object, or do you want to have multiple objects where you don't have to worry about trying to blend a low polygon into a high polygon? So, like, what I could do is just leave it there. Scale this in a bit, and then just make a second asset. But actually, no, let's do that. I'm going to grab this polygon, just this one. I'm gonna go this way. Actually, no, that works because it doesn't scale. And I'm going to use Shift D, not Control D. It is Shift D. And then I'm going to move this up. So that duplicates it. And then I'm just going to G and move again.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Then you're going to start again, essentially going upwards.
Then, yes, I do the unenviable task of all of this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But once you start using your hotkeys, I start sort of doing things a lot quicker. So let's say I get that, and then E, and then just start, like, just getting in there.
Are you using a trackpad or like a pen and stylus?
Nope.
Type thing, or just a mouse? Okay.
Just the mouse.
Yeah, me too.
Now, once again, this is quite high polygon, but it's a bit messy. So the silhouette is, once again, the silhouette is the key. So as long as it can bake this information down, it doesn't matter too much. Now, I could grab all three, but I actually want to go down here. So I'm going to go down. And the benefits of this kind of asset is you don't really have to worry about edge loops too much. So there are definitely benefits to that. So I'm going to put that sort of down there. I'm going to grab these two and extrude these down there. So you start recognizing certain patterns of things you can do faster. Like so. Here's a good one. So, and I think this is the F tool that we added with the add-on. So here, if you see, we have sort of like a right angle. Now I could, and I want to grab this one, and then I press F. I will add that tool, that polygon, very easily with that tool. So I'm gonna maybe put that up there a bit. Put that there, and then we can move that down. You can probably move that down there as well. So once again, F to sort of join things. click on that, F to put that over there, E to go down there. Now, how can I do a nose? E,
with difficulty.
E. Let's grab that and go F. Put that there. Now, once again, we don't really have to worry. We don't have to worry about quads. We're not going to animate this asset, although that'd be kind of trippy. So yeah, there's a lot of things we can sort of get away with this kind of asset on the grounds that it's not that much of a thing we have to worry about. So that's useful.
Right, there we go. That doesn't look too bad.
And then once you get a loop, no, one more maybe. Let's actually put that there. Nope, nope. G. Out there. I can go down there. F down to there. F. 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 Now, if I wanted to, and I'm going to do this, I'll just show what we're actually trying to sculpt. Okay. Interesting. So I'm going to use that to my advantage here and just make sure. Yeah, let's grab that piece. Put it down there. F again. G. Let me turn that off. Let's actually...
I've cheated and skipped this entire stage. I'm just continuing practicing these skills going upwards.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I think this part I'm fast at because of characters. That's basically what it comes down to for this part.
I'm also realizing now that this model really isn't straight. It's okay.
Is what, sorry?
It's not straight at all. It's it's leaning and it's not symmetrical. So I'm going up and I've been kind of cloning it upwards.
Yeah.
Perfectly, but I really need to adjust it.
What I would do if I was going to do it again, I would actually rotate everything so the pedestal is straight and the ground isn't.
Yeah.
Next time. And then, yeah, like, don't forget you've got F to join edges. So, yeah. Now, this is Retopology, like, 101. So, there's a lot of tutorials on being able to do this, because we've been doing this for a very long time in game development. So, maybe not so much anymore because Unreal and, like, AAA games are nuts. But when it comes to the tactics here, this is just retopology. So there's plenty of tutorials on this sort of stuff. But a lot of the tools, overlap a lot. Like, they are the same tools that you just use a lot. So you get really fast at them. I guess is one way to look at it.
I mean, I've seen there are like auto retopology tools out there, but they generally come with like ZBrush, which costs. But also this is great just for the practice.
Yes.
Of actually doing it, because then you have a better appreciation for what's actually happening when ZBrush does it.
Yeah, and the thing is, generally speaking, like, ZBrush has a pretty good remesher. Like, you can tell it sort of where you want to focus lines and information. But if you retopologize the base here, like that would not be nearly as low as that. So it does reduce, and like it would reduce it quite a lot. And in a AAA game, that's fine. But in a monospace, like a WebGL space, you really have to get it as low as possible. So our base is significantly better than pretty much any remesher out there, including ZBrush. That said, a lot of a lot of remeshers now do pretty good edge looping, maybe. So what you could do is if you remesh it, and then you just start selecting the edge loops and deleting them when they're not in use, for example. So I'll probably do a tutorial once I explore that a little bit more in ZBrush. I'll probably look at a proper like remesh tutorial. But yeah, it will not be as low as this by a long shot. So pros and cons. Yeah, I mean, it saves a lot of time, but it doesn't save. Well, it saves polygons for sure, but not as many as one would wish.
I mean, something like ZBrush should probably get it down to, don't know, like 20,000 or something.
Oh, easily, yeah.
This particular model, whereas we're getting it down to what, a couple of thousand,
probably
maximum.
And once again, it depends on the detail levels that you want. So, say I could like, actually, what I could do. I've got another idea that I'm going to try with something. So there's a modifier in here called shrink wrap. So if I made a box with a bunch of edge loops and then just shrunk wrap it onto this, that would kind of do the same as what Remesh is doing. So I'll do that after I finish this head, because I'm kind of enjoying the head.
There's only, how many more heads are there on that?
There's one head, actually.
One. Oh yeah, there is. Oh, there really is only one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now what I could do,
I suspect...
I could flip this actually. So I'm going to flip this. I'm going to grab all that. Yeah. Straight, man. That would have made all the difference. I might actually do that now.
That is not.
Actually, I'm going to do that now. Hang on. So I'm going to select the two assets, and then I'm going to try and rotate this to be straight. So rotate to there, and then rotate. Now the thing is with ZBrush, actually, I've got that in my head now. With Blender, if you just press R and move, it will rotate it to the view that you've got it on. So if you're on a perspective, it will rotate on that perspective. So if you want to rotate on a correct thing, you can sort of choose one of these angles to do that better. The other option is rotate on the Z, X, and Y. So R, Z, R, X, or R, Y. And that will allow you to sort of rotate on particular axes. So we kind of want that. Yeah. Okay. So it's done. It's now straight.
Beautiful.
The floor is way off. Okay, so where's the head? So let's pull that up again. And now, because that's sort of straight, I can grab all that, Shift D, right mouse click, and then I'm actually going to separate this one so I can sort of control it on its own and then join it back in. So once again, that's right mouse click, separate, selection, press tab, make sure it's the one I want, press tab again, and in this case I'm going to go scale, so S, X. Now it shows you which axis, so like X, you see the red line across the screen, Z, up and down, Y you can't see because it's what we're doing, so we want to do X, and then I'm going to go -1. So having those tools will help you. Once again, I'm going to take snap off. Put it maybe there. That works. And then I'm going to join these two. Once again, right mouse click, join. And then tab to vertex, and then go like this. Now, other merge vertices, that's another one you'll use a lot. So before you used merge at center, for example. Now, sometimes, and this is a really good thing that Blender has, and I don't think Max does, maybe it does now, I haven't used it for a while, but right mouse click, merge vertices at center, at cursor, collapse, at first, and at last. So depending on what kind of merge you want to do, so I know that this one is correct, so I can actually fix the first one, the second one, at last. At last. So that's very useful. Now, another thing that Blender has, whatever the last thing on this list that I did, so that was a merge, so I'm going to do that again. And if I do Control, is it Control R? Nope. Shift R will repeat whatever I did last. And that is super useful. So I can grab these two, Shift R, to merge the last vertex, because that's what I said to do last. So that will save a lot of time as well. And then, of course, G to move around. And then we just do these ones. Ah, we need to put this back on.
Mine's
How you going?
mine's not going quite well.
Finished?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
I'll show you how mine's looking now.
Alright, hang on.
Feel free to.
Okay. Actually,
No,
this
right?
this is actually really good, because what I'd like to do is we're gonna do baking. So we're actually gonna bake this onto the low poly in this session as well, if you've got time. So we
we'll
can
see
compare.
how badly it comes out.
Yeah, we can compare what you've done, because that might look. It won't look as good, but it won't look too bad, because we're projecting a lot of that information onto it. So
Like,
there are some things we can do with that.
Yeah, an example of how not to do it, but yeah. Okay, right.
All right.
Pulling back over. There we go. So, depending on what you're doing, I will have a quick play now and just see if I can tidy some of these up even a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. What I'd like to do is I'm going to try the shrink wrap approach and see if that comes up with any interesting results. And then I'll go into how to bake it. But like for all of the techniques that we've basically suggested in this session so far is how I would do the rest of the object. We haven't. Yeah, that's basically how we would do it. So when it comes to retopology, most of it is extrude, bevel, and snap to object. Now, note though, with this case, I flipped this and made a minus axes, so these normals are going to be off. So to show that, I can go up here and then put this on. Notice how these ones are out and these ones are in. So I could grab all of the assets, the polygons that are incorrect, like so. Go up to mesh, normals, and flip. And that keeps them all that. The other approach is you just select everything and go mesh, normals, recalculate outside. So there's a few approach with normals, but yeah, flipped normals are bad in game engines because a game engine will only see one side when you import it. So if you have some of your normals in the wrong way, that will look invisible until you go to the other side and look back this way. So make sure that the normals are correct. Okay. All right. So we have our head. All right. So one more thing. So while you're cleaning that up and dabbling and practicing, I'm going to try a shrink wrap technique. So I'm going to do a cube. Scale that to about that big. Turn snap off. S, Z, sort of about there. Yeah. Put this out to here. Shrink wraps are interesting in that you have to make sure that it is outside. Otherwise it will kind of have issues. So that is one of the problems with shrink wrap. But it works. I'm going to get rid of the top and the bottom. Delete faces. I'm going to... Actually, I'm just going to use a... I think it's multi-resolution. Nope, not that one. I always get them mixed up. Subdivision surface. So we've got that. Nope, don't want that either, because I want it to stay this shape. So I'm actually just going to Control R, maybe that many. Maybe sort of squares. Actually, I'm going to turn this off because that's getting messy. Alright. Now I'm doing this as a separate object because I don't want the other asset to do the shrink wrap stuff. So, doing that. Alright. Let's have a look. So, I'm going to attempt. I have no idea if this is going to work. By the way. Just sounds cool. So we've got our asset and I'm going to shrink wrap, which is this one. Target, which is this one. And looks a bit messy. Very messy. I do a little bit of an offset. See what the options say. Not great. Yeah. Here's vertex, about the same. And target normal project, yeah, about the same. Yeah. Okay, so that's a start. Depending on the space. Now this is, I guess, too complex for what we're trying to do.
Worth a shot though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've definitely used it before. Actually, one thing I'd like to try. Yeah, one more try. And if this doesn't work, then it was worth a try. Yeah, a bit better. Kind of. Okay. So I'm going to apply that. And let's have a look at it. Put that on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit too messy to figure that out very well. So maybe no. Okay. delete that. Okay. So the idea would be to sort of continue that. Once again, you could start making some shortcuts as well. So with this in mind, I could basically start snapping some of this really quick.
Oops. There we go.
So you can get away with some stuff pretty quick. Just depends on how detailed do you want it and how much time do you have. But yeah, all right. So let's look into baking this onto.
This is where it gets real bad for me. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. I'm kind of surprised.
There we go.
I kind of want to keep doing it, but no, I'll wrap it up there. Now, the next thing we need to do though is we actually need to unwrap our asset. We need to figure out where the texture needs to go. Now, all of this asset needs to be one texture that you can't like loop the material. You can't do anything like that. In Blender, it's pretty easy. So in edit mode, we go up the top and we have UV editing.
Let me see that. UV. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right at the very top menu. Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to, we could probably hide the base. So that's fine. Now, basically, go to edit mode. So, yeah, edit mode and line. And on your base, Alt, edge loop select.
Let's say that again. So on the which, sorry?
Yeah. So on the so Alt left click, so you select a loop.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Right mouse click and go mark seam.
Where's that? Right click, mark seam. Mark seam. There we go.
Yep. Now basically you want to imagine having a cube and you trying to flatten that into just a flat version of that, so there's no warping. Now in this case, that's actually fine. But if you've got like if you had, let's do a quick example. So if I do this, for example, then you have a thing that wouldn't loop very well. So I would have to get this edge as well and mark that seam. And then when you select everything, and make sure you select everything, and then up here at UV, in the middle of the screen at the top.
Do I need to have done that as well? The selecting that top seam.
No, I'm doing this as an example of what not to do. Or
Okay.
if there is that, make sure to unwrap this bit as well. So make sure that you have enough seams that would allow this to understand, I want to make this as flat as possible. So when I go UV and then unwrap, you have this sort of cut here. So everywhere you mark that seam, it will cut and then flatten it all out for you. Now, if I didn't do that seam on the top, and then I do unwrap, it will do that. So this edge here, for example, would be very warped and unusable. So make sure that your seams are done in a way that allows the unwrap to work really well. Now, I don't need a top, but that was just an example of what to do if you had one. So I'm going to delete that. And we have an edge, and an edge, so this shouldn't be a problem. And this is all edged as well. So select that, UV, unwrap. Now, if I was doing a tileable asset, I would just do Smart UV Project. And that would sort of do this. It puts it all in there. Everything's the same size. But the problem is you have seams all over the place, which we don't want in this case. So we've got that.
Before we go any further, I'm just going to... mind if I share my screen?
Yep.
You can have a look what I'm doing. Okay, so go. So I've made that seam, but then is it the UV unwrap here, or do I need to have something selected?
You have to select all of the model that you want to. Now make sure you have the X-ray on, because that won't select the background.
Oh, okay. Which is the little... Oh, do I need to be on... I know it. I know what it looks like in...
Yeah, it's at the right, so the thing... Yep, that's it there. And then select it all. Yes.
Cool.
That is one of the things that bother me a little bit about Blender, is you always have to have X-ray mode if you want to select through.
Mine doesn't look very tidy.
Yes.
Surprise!
Now, the reason for that is because you didn't put a seam at the top when you closed it. So go back to that again. And
do I need to click Control Z, or does it not matter?
Yep. So you can leave it as is. It doesn't matter. So if you go to the roof of your asset, that one, edge, select all of that.
It's Control. There we go. Yeah.
And then if you press 2, it'll select the edge loops of that, which is what you want. So press 2.
Have I done that? Is that 2?
Yeah. Yep, you're already in that. And then go right mouse click and mark seam.
Yep. Beautiful, right. And then let's try this whole process again. That should be everything. Yeah, there we go. And then
it's not everything, but I want to show you why.
That at least looks better.
Yeah, so it's definitely getting there. So basically finding the seams to create an asset that doesn't warp as much as it can. Now, the thing is also, like at the top of your asset, you have like not the top one there, but the edge where you've got like a really wide, So I would maybe add another loop there, like a little bit down.
Oh, okay.
A little bit down.
So which one? This
down,
one?
down.
Oh, further down, this one?
That one. So grab that edge loop and make that a seam as well.
So we want to go Control, that one. So that's selected all of that, and then it's, remind me again.
Right mouse click, mark seam.
Just right click and mark the seam.
Yeah. Okay.
Done that?
And then...
Why is that different color?
Yeah. And then unwrap that.
Oh, it's got everything. Yes, it does. And unwrap. Has it done anything?
No, sorry. That's mark sharp.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no. That's a very common mistake, so I'm glad you did it. Mark sharp is good for when you're doing normals and you're doing like a sharp edge rather than a smooth edge, which we'll look into in a second because you need to do it. But, yeah, mark seam is what you want to do, and then unwrap.
There we go.
Right. Now, small note. If you were just baking your asset as is, that would be okay. But there possibly, you might want to put a graphic, like an image or some graffiti on the concrete. And having this sort of like loop here isn't so good. So sometimes you might want to clean it up so everything's really straight. So if you go over to this side, go to line, press, once again, Alt, select line.
Wait,
on the left side.
On what, sorry? On the left side? Oh, yes. Over here, gotcha.
Yep. So select the line.
So, one, no, it's line and then it's any?
Yep.
Like
I would start at the far left, because we're going to go through one by one.
Okay, so zoom in a little bit.
Yep.
Okay.
And then right mouse click, and then go Align X. Down, down, down.
Line X.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
No, that's fine.
So I gotta keep
and then
doing
go
this,
the next one, Align X. Or Shift R.
Oh, that does it automatically. I'll do the Align X, because it will drill into my brain of how to do it. X. Align X. So just keep going until...
Yep.
Do I keep going?
Yep.
Okay.
All the way through, just to make it really neat. So if you want to, you could maybe sort of do certain things with that. This is more important for things like trim sheets and things like that. It's not so important for photogrammetry, but I thought I'd just throw it in there just to show that it can be done. It also might help with packing more information into this 1x1 box. I forget if I said hello, May. How's it going? I forget how May 7. The 7 is a different sound, and I forgot what the sound is. So, my apologies. And then once you've done the X, you can do the same with the Y.
Oh wow! So it really does take a decent amount of time then. Oop. Okay, that all of it? Have I missed any lines? How will I know if I've missed lines? I probably won't, will I?
If it's not straight, you've missed it.
So like these ones? Okay.
Okay.
Let's try this last one. That looks reasonable to me.
Yep.
Okay.
And then do the same with the horizontals. That's the one.
So do you mean this part, or do you just mean the changing
Those ones, yeah. So right
so
mouse
then
click.
the Y.
No, the other one going this way.
Oh, I see what you mean. What, as in, wait, so you got the ups. Are you talking about these lines? Oh,
Yes.
Hang on. Oh, let's start from the bottom, shall we? That might make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then align to X.
Align Y.
Align Y. That makes much more sense. Okay, cool. Align Y.
And don't forget Shift R if you want to just save some time on that.
Yeah, I might just start doing that. So, but do I still have to control it? Oh.
Yep. And then Shift R. Yep.
Shift R.
So that's much faster. Once you get into that habit, it's a good habit to get into. It saves a lot of time.
Can you do this? Oh no, you can't.
No, because everything will shrink to the one. I think there is a way to do it, like select them all and it sort of figures it out, but I haven't figured that out yet.
And Shift R. Okay, that'll do for that.
Yep.
I still have to do a similar thing for this.
Yeah, so you could do that.
Okay.
Now the other thing you can do is I would grab that and then scale it up to be as big as possible in the square.
Like just this one.
If
All of it, or just this one?
yeah, the whole thing. In that case, you can press 4, and that will go to select the whole asset.
Okay, cool. And then it's S. So you just want it to be as big as possible. Oh, it's got to fit in there, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So
then
I would grab the left asset, and then just scale that up, and that's fine. And then you can scale the other ones up a bit if you want to. So once you have an idea of how big all of the assets are and what's important, once again, the more important things you would make bigger in this texture. And the things that are less important you would make smaller. With materials that loop, like say just a marble material that is tileable, then that all has to be the same size. But with these sort of things, because we're baking the information, you can be a little bit more creative with that asset.
Well, how's that? I mean, that's about as good as I'm going to get for now. But I've got to redo these ones, don't I? These lines.
That one I'm not too sure about, because that's the top, right? Yeah, I don't think it would work with that. So that one, I would probably leave it as is.
Okay. Should we throw back to your screen now, or do you want to
Sure.
continue on mine? Okay, cool. Right, here we go.
Alrighty. So that's mine, but I have less. So I don't have that top bit as well. I just have the face and the edge. So we've got that. And that's unwrapping. Now, of course, once you have the full model, you would have to do that for the whole asset. But once again, those are the tools you would use to do that. So we can go back to layout at the top. Now, when you're baking, usually the asset needs to be smooth. So select your asset, go to Object at the top, and then go down to Shade Smooth.
Wait, where was that? Object. Oh, I see. Shade Smooth. Just click that. Oh, okay. It's done some interesting things.
Yeah. So that's just going to make everything smooth. If you have like right angle assets, maybe that's less important. So it depends. Now I have bevels on all of my corners, so this is okay. So it really depends. When you're baking, usually we'll clean it up. It'll just normal the whole thing for you, and it's okay. So there's that. Now, if you want to, I'll just quickly go over. If I wanted to, let's say I wanted to make this normal a harsh edge rather than a soft edge, this is where Mark Sharp comes in play. So I'm going to make that one and that one sharp. Now they're still smooth, but I will go to over here, normals. So in the green triangle box thing, selection, what's it called? Object data properties, this one. Go down to normals and then go auto smooth. And then I can adjust that. So I'm going to put that to 90 or 120, whatever I want. And it will take into consideration the sharp that you've added. So this is very sharp, but everything else is really smooth.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
See?
Nice.
In this case, we don't need to do this, but I'm just saying if you want to, it's possible. Another thing I found very useful, and this is thanks to Mecha3D, or Richard, depending on how you want to call him, add modifier weighted normal does some really nice things as well. So it just creates a much more accurate or useful smoothing. So sometimes I will use that. So I'll usually go sort of corner angle and make sure keep sharp, and that'll keep that. This modifier needs auto smooth on. So you can use that as well. Once again, I found it useful. Sometimes we don't need it today. So I'm just going to get rid of all these things, including the sharps. So clear sharp. So it's all smooth. So same as yours. But those are some other tools that you might use in your polygon journey. Okay. So, we have our smoothed object that has been unwrapped. The next thing we need to do is bake. So let's unhide that. And we need to go to, up the top, shading. And
Okay,
before you do
so
that,
in,
save.
Yes, okay, right. So
Yeah.
I'm in object mode, and I've selected just the, well, my object.
Yeah.
And then, where am I going again? It was,
Shading, right at the
where's
top.
the baking? Rendering. I didn't say baking.
Shading.
Oh, shading.
Yes, shading.
Shading. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
pulled up. Similar thing.
Now make sure that your asset is selected. And over here, we want to add a material. So this little circle with this, the grid, add. Or not add,
Hang on,
select.
My model isn't showing. I wonder if that's because I'm...
Did you hide the
where
thing
was it?
again?
Where's the little viewport manager? Where is it? Viewport display. No, that's...
So it could be,
Hey,
you
well,
could have
I've-
hidden it, and therefore the eye next to the camera should show it.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll just drag across quickly.
Yep.
And I'm slowing this down. Right. So what am I doing?
Yes, so if you look at the hierarchy there, one of them is hidden.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew. I did that when I was building. Of course, Now,
Yep.
am I able to redo that now? Oh
Yep.
wait, no, Blender's.
It'll take a second.
There we go. Okay, excellent. Right. put it
Now,
back.
just a
That's
small
very
note while we're
good.
there. So the eye is the viewport, and the camera is the render. So I can see it in the viewport, but hide it in the render, or vice versa with those two icons. So
excellent.
That's why we do that.
That's cool.
Okay, so select your low poly asset, and then go to the shading, which is this, and then you want to go to the material button on the right there.
Material button.
So
tell you
down.
what, I'll follow you, shall I, on this?
Yep, switch them around.
Probably easier.
Cool. So it's this one down here.
Hang on. So I'm watching the stream, so slight delay. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Yep.
So you've got your asset selected, you've got the material, and then you go new.
Okay, cool.
Call it what you want. Doesn't really matter. So let's just say baker. Now, what we're doing here is we're not setting up a material, we're setting up a texture to bake onto. So what I'm going to do is go add here. And then go texture, image texture. And place that. Then we're going to go new. Call it something. Baked. Now, I usually make everything 2048. You can always scale down. Scaling up is not great. So I'll go 2048 by 2048. And then just go OK.
48.
Tell me when you've squared that away.
There we go.
Cool. That's it. Now keep it selected. Because basically we're telling Blender that that's where we want to bake the texture that we're going to do. So that's all we need to do. Next, we need to go to render properties, which is this one.
Okay, render properties. Oh yeah, okay.
Yep. Now next to that you have render engine. Eevee does not do baking. You need cycles.
Oh, we want cycles, yes.
Yeah.
And am I right in thinking that cycles is possibly better, but it takes way longer?
Yes. So cycles, that's basically it. So cycles looks better when it's rendered, but it does take longer. Eevee is faster, but doesn't look as good. So yeah. That said, Eevee does not do baking. Cycles is the only one that does baking. So keep that. You can use CPU or GPU. I'm gonna try GPU. Last time I tried it crashed. But I'm gonna do it. We'll see how we go. Now the magic happens down under here, which is bake. And this is where the magic happens. So, things we need to know. Bake from multi-res, not important. Bake type, what are you wanting to bake? So, I will usually start with the normal map, because that will change depending on does it project far enough out to get the information, things like that. So the normal is where I'll usually start. We will also be looking at a diffuse. This asset doesn't have metallic or smoothness or any of that. It's just diffuse and normal. So let's select normal. That's it. Influence is fine. A big thing that we need to do is go selected to active. That there.
Where was this? Sorry, selective to. Oh, just the checkbox.
Yep,
yeah,
just the checkbox. Open that. Extrusion and max ray distance is how far away from the asset are we projecting this information onto the low polygon. Usually I'll start about 0.1 meters on both. I will pretty much always put this up. So I'm going to start on 0.2. Why not?
Okay.
This is also pretty important with the, what do you call it? Apply transforms. So I'm going to do that again on both assets. So I'm going to select the high poly, apply it to that. And I'm going to do the low poly and apply it to that. That way the 0.2 meters is 0.2 meters rather than something weird.
I got a little lost at that point. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm currently been applying this baking stuff to the model I've made. But what was the next bit? Sorry, with the selecting the original model.
Yes, so make sure both of your assets have apply transform applied. Because if you're scaling or moving things and it doesn't, if it was like, say, 10 meters big, and you say 0.2, that's not going to be correct. So make sure that all of your assets have apply transform on them, so everything's the same.
I remember that was...
Yeah, everything's the same factor. So once we've done that, the 0.2 extrusion and the 0.2 max ray distance is correct. Like, it's actually 20 centimeters, which is what we want.
And it was what was the button for that again?
That is under selected to active. So if you open selected to active.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see one, and yeah, okay, yeah, they're both selected anyway.
Yeah. So 0.2 for both, and we'll adjust as we need to. You want it to be as small as possible, but you want to include all of the information, so it's a bit of a mix of those two. Target image textures, adjacent faces, everything else is fine. So the main thing here is selected to active, because what we're going to do is we're going to left mouse click the high polygon asset, and then control click the low polygon, because our selected object is active, and that's how we're going to bake onto that one. Now, if I had 20,000 objects, I could bake those into whatever I select last. So that's quite a useful way to do that. That theoretically is it. Any questions?
Let's see if I have done it correctly or if I missed some step. We'll see.
No, that's it. Like, every time is like, have I done it right? Bake. No, I haven't. It's pretty much the standard response. But let's see how we go. So feel free to press bake at the top of the bake window and see what happens. Let's see the stream crash.
Where's the bake button?
Maybe save before you do it. I didn't, but you might.
Where is this bake button?
At the top of the bake section.
Am I in bake? I'm in shading. Oh, I see what you mean. In the bake. I'm still not seeing it. Where the... the bake section? I guess yours started, so you can't even show me. Tell you what, I'll drag across so you can see.
Okay.
Right, where are we looking? Oh, I see. It's right in front of me. And click.
That's the one. Okay. Let's see how we went. Okay.
How do I know it's doing something?
Down the bottom, it'll have a counter.
Oh, texture bake 0%.
Yep.
Oh, 1%. Okay, great. That's going.
So mine's done. How's yours going?
Well, there you go. It's spinning up now. 31%.
Did you use GPU or CPU?
GPU, that's done. It's done now.
Okay. CPU is a bit slower, but there's that. So this is kind of what you want. Now, sometimes... Actually, I'll do another bake, and I'll show what you don't want. So I'm going to go back to, let's say, 0.1. And I'm going to rebake it, because I want to show what happens when it doesn't work. So I'm going to bake this again. Once again, you want this as low as possible. So if it's clearly okay, maybe I'd take it down a bit and then bounce between. We need render music.
So how do you know when it's actually baked correctly? You know, what's a bad bake look like?
Yes, that's why I reduced those numbers to show you what doesn't look good. So I'm hoping.
Right. I mean,
no,
hopefully this does look good then.
No, that looks good as well. Hang on. Okay, I'm gonna try 0, 0. It's too good.
God.
It's fine. That's actually better. Okay, so I'm gonna go 0, 0 and see if that comes up with any errors. Try again. It's very rare that I'm trying to make it worse.
Yeah.
But here we are. Luckily, the bake isn't too bad. Like, it's pretty quick.
It's some elevator music.
There's a Fight Club had a really good sort of intermission track that I'd love to use, but like the copyright issue would be like all over it. Okay.
Yeah.
Here is an example of not looking good. All bad.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
All bad.
Kind of
all bad.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this is sort of like cutting through it and then projecting things on the other side, so the normals are inverted. Sometimes what will happen, if there's not something on the other side, it will just be like this blue. So you don't see any detail at all. It's just the neutral, what is it, 128, 128, 255 blue. And you can usually, like, it looks like a cutout or like a pool, like a little pond on your object.
Yeah.
That is not what you want. So it's pretty obvious when it's not working right. So I put that up to 0.1 because there was an issue on the 0.2, but I'm going to go 0.1. Bake that again. Now, if you want, feel free to put the bake type to diffuse. And then turn off direct and indirect light, and I'm hoping that will just do the color. Now, if you have really nice lighting in Blender, you can bake that lighting into the bake with direct and indirect lighting. So it depends on what situation you want to do it. That's good. Sorry, before you press bake, you have to save out the image. And I didn't say to do that, so hopefully you did it. But it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go on this, go to image, and then go save as.
Where is that? Save
It's the
as.
sculpture. So let's go.
3 little lines. There we go.
Baked
Image,
normal.
as.
PNG. All of that's fine. Doesn't have alpha, so I'm going to turn that to just RGB. 8's fine usually. Yeah, that'll do. Cool. Because if I bake again on diffuse, it will override that and I will lose that information. So make sure that you save each of the images manually.
So do I need to do both normals and diffuse, or
Yes.
just normals?
They will be separate. So I'm going to go diffuse and go direct and indirect off, so it's just the color. So if I go to the top right, so the render window, that will show you what it will, the lighting that it will render. And as you can see, it's very dark.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So I can put a sunlight, some spotlights, point lights, all that sort of stuff, and that will correct that. But if I just turn off direct and indirect, it's just color.
Just had my first crash,
I did?
but I saved, so that's not too fair. Not too bad.
Save often.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me. Save. Okay.
Stream.
So I'm going to go diffuse, direct, indirect is off, color is on. Make sure that your normal map and your diffuse uses the same selected to active settings, because otherwise there might be a bit of a mismatch between normals and diffuse and other settings. So that's pretty important. If you haven't reselected anything, it should be the same, and then you can just go bake.
Cube. I'm just catching up a little bit now because of
No worries.
I go bake. No valid selected objects. Oh, is it my? Oh, I need to do that thing.
It's a good review.
What was it called?
So, as a summary, what do you remember?
Not a lot. So we'll go.
I'll share your screen. Share your screen. We'll go through it.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
So this was just before I baked.
Yep.
So in theory we haven't got anything. But I need to link these two. I forget what you called it. It was the...
Okay. So yeah, that control... Yep, control cube.
cube. There we go.
That one. And then bake. That's it.
Okay, cool. So excellent. That's good. And then after this, I will save the image. Although I've already got the image saved, so that's fine.
Yeah. So
And
that should
then
be
I need to
diffuse.
change-
So set the render type to diffuse.
I'll just wait for this to bake.
Ah,
Or can I
okay.
start doing it now?
Right.
And then it's diffuse, and then we're changing the just the color, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right, this should be done very soon. It goes from 30 to 100 pretty quickly.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that-
the second half of this is really fast.
Right, clicking save. Okay, cool. Right, now we're going to go to
Actually, how did you save it?
diffuse.
Sorry? How did you save the image?
Oh no, I just control S. I meant Blender. I've already got this image saved.
I
I'll
already
save
got
it
it?
again.
Okay, cool. Alright.
Let's just check. Tutorial export. It's baked. Let's do it
Cool.
again. Okay, cool. Right, and now we're going to go to bake
Diffuse.
type.
Yep, diffuse.
Where's that? And then it's boop,
Turn
boop.
off those two, and
Alright.
that's it. Bake again.
Okay, cool. That's easy enough. So that's two types of textures. And then, so what's the next step? Are we then going to essentially load that model in with just those textures? That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. No, yeah, the next step is taking it into Unity, actually.
Maybe if I send it to you and then you can have a look side by side what they look like.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Actually, what I'd like to do is let's do a mintable package process. So I'll get you to build it, make a prefab, and then we'll export that as a Unity package, and then I'll import that, and that's much easier, actually.
Okay, as long as you walk me through it, that's cool.
I would like to walk you
save
through it
this
because
bit
then
anyway.
other people being able to create Unity packages are one great for assets if you're passing in a community or with a team, but also we'll be using that when we sort of add to the library and competitions and things like that. So that's great. So save your images and save your low poly asset. So export FBX.
I need to be just the cube, don't I? Export FBX. I'm gonna put this in here.
Make sure you use selected object. So yeah, cube is selected, and then selected object at the right there. So down a bit.
What, this one.
No, in the window. Sorry, in the
okay,
FBX
so-
window.
Okay, so you want a different object. As
Yeah,
in,
and at the top right of that window, you've got selected objects.
objects. Am I being? So gotcha. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So otherwise, you're going to save everything, and you'll have a 1 gig model to put into Unity. And I'm going to say that's going to take a while. So yeah, selected objects. Name it as you see fit.
Yeah, let's call it stream.
And then
Call it Sam's FBX. Cool. And then export.
yeah. Now let's create a new Mona template, I guess.
I will throw it back to you, sir.
Okay.
There we go.
Good. So we have our latest here. So I'm just going to right mouse click, extract here. I'm going to rename that to not one sculpt thing. Technical term. And then go to Unity.
Okay.
Where's Unity? What's it doing? Here we go. It's taken time. Open. Mona, tutorials, workshops.
So was I meant to do whatever you just did there now? I was just
Have you
closing
set up a
shop.
template before? Actually, we should just go through it. So I have the zip from the GitHub. Do you have that?
Wait, say the zip
Mona
from the
template.
GitHub. Oh no.
Okay.
Maybe this is something I just watch on yours.
Okay.
No,
you
I
should
need
do
to
it.
check if
Let's
I've
do
even
it.
got Unity installed.
Let's do it.
Well, I don't know if I got new Unity installed. I thought I had Unity installed.
If you don't have Unity installed, it takes forever. So Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unity. No, apparently not.
Okay.
Must have installed it.
You're gonna have to get on that, but yes. Okay, so the first thing you'll have is the Unity Hub. When you install Unity, version 20.3.18, make sure that when it comes up with the question of modules, that you have, where is it? The WebGL build support, right? So this is installed. So when you install 2020.3.18, make sure that WebGL build support is included. Because that's very important. If you don't have that, Mona will not work. You can't build to the playground, you can't do anything. So make sure that's included. Otherwise, it's good. And then you can go to projects. We can go to open. So this is the zip that you will get from the GitHub, like the template. I right mouse clicked and just unzipped it here, and then I renamed the space starter main to 01 sculpt thing. This is your project for Mona. If I wanted to back this up, I would literally just copy this project and then open the second one and start it, like continue. So it's very easy to make projects. Select that project, so you have the VS Code, assets, packages, and project settings, and then go open.
I've sent you a couple of files if you wanted to use mine as well.
Ah, yeah, because you're not going to be able to do
we'll
the thing. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's because I've only just got a new computer, and I keep forgetting which bits I've not installed or not. And I thought I had it installed, but like a dum-dum, I have not.
Shiny. Okay, let me just put this on... Where do I want to put it? Yeah, let's put it there. See how that goes. Okay. So once you open the template, you just have a default Unity space, and we don't want that. We want to go to Mona up here, and then go load space scenes. You are now in Mona. Very easy. Then you want to right mouse click on the Untitled and then remove scene. Now Mona spaces have to have these assets. So you'll have a space scene with a space object, and the space object has a space tag. If it doesn't have the tag, it won't work. If it doesn't have the asset, it also won't work. That's just the way we've set it up. You'll have a portals scene with a portals object. The portals object has portal layer. That also has to be set up that way. And the artifacts layer, artifact scene with the artifacts object has artifact layer. Tag, sorry. Yeah, artifact layer tag. Now, you don't have to have a portal, so I could actually delete that. But even though these are empty, I still have to have these two assets. If I delete or rename or take off the tag, it won't work. Once again, Mona looks for certain things, so if you delete them, no dice. And it will come up with an error. So if I go like that and go QA, it'll say I'm missing the artifact layer. So QA can give you some warnings on some of these assets. Now, the base template will have a spawn point, which is this guy, which has to be blue. If it's red, that's bad. Blue is good. That it will go red if its collider is in another collider, because that's an illegal position, or if it has nothing to land on. So this floor has a collider, so that's okay, but this asset does not. So you can do that. I've got some lights. Let's get rid of that. Everything's fine. Lights is a directional light. You can use that if you want, or delete it, your choice. And the floor, which I also recommend deleting because we don't need it. But today, we're not doing that. So, when it comes to assets, we've set up this folder structure here. You don't need to use it. We just recommend using it because it's kind of clean and keeps things organized. So I'm going to pull up the assets that I've just created, which is here. We have our FBX. So that's the model. So I'm going to put that in models. And we have our 2 textures that I baked, and I'm going to put them in textures. That's it. I'm also going to get yours, so keep them separate just in case.
Yeah.
Stream Sam, models, and 2 assets in textures. Slightly different, so that's fine. So there. Now, if you... This is separate from what we're doing, but I'll introduce because it's very important. If we were going to bake these assets into the scene, so light mapping and all those sorts of things, we want to make sure that these 2 models have generate light map UVs. So in our Blender scene, we did one, like the first layer UVs for baking and all that sort of stuff. The generate light map UVs is a second UV that puts it all in a smaller thing that allows us to do light mapping. So very important to sort of grab all of your assets and then go generate light map UVs and then apply. That's it. That's all you need to do, but it's a good thing to get in the habit. Another thing is our 2 normal maps need to be a normal map. So you got texture type. So our diffuse, our metallic, our smoothness, all of them can be default. But our normal maps need to be normal map. But I'll show you a more common way to do it. And we need to do create. So right mouse click on the materials, create, and material. So let's call mats thingy. So I'm going to grab mine, which were these 2. So that one goes on the albedo. So we have our sort of that. Let's make it a bit bigger so we can see it. So we've got that. And our normal map goes on the normal map. And it will say that it's not, it's like going on the normal map slot. Therefore, it should be normal. It's not. Fix that now. So I'll always do that. And then you get this beautiful normal map. Now, the asset is not very smooth. I'm going to put a little bit on there, but not much. Definitely not metallic. If I wanted to do that with textures, I definitely could. That would have to be manual or with Substance Painter or something like that. But for today, we won't be worrying about it. So that's mine. I'm going to Control D this one. Technical term of paradox thingy. And then drag your materials in there as well. Fix now. All right. So you can see that.
For the grand reveal.
It's looking good. Now, the thing is, you can press this little button here, and it will change the object. So if you want to test it on different sort of assets, you've got a few different things to work with. So, yeah, you can use that. If you want to, you can actually change the reflection probe, but last time I tried it, I did it in the tutorial, it didn't work, so it's like, sorry. So there's that. Okay. So back to our assets, we have this one. Now, if you select on the model and go to materials on the top right here, we have our material. So I can drag that into there, go apply, and we have our asset. And you can do the same with yours as well. Apply. There we go. And then we can drag these into our scene.
Oh, yours come out pretty well. Nice.
But so did yours.
This is how I might... Did it? I can't. I'm still... it's not actually... That's not horrific.
No. And that's the thing. Like, your whole detail on this sort of thing was a flat plane.
Yeah.
So like, if you think about it, and the extrusion is enough, and that's the thing. So some of this might not have... Like, you don't get the face.
No. That's actually not bad, considering that I put zero detail
yeah.
And polygons into the middle bit.
Yeah.
But like the top bits come out pretty well. Can you have a look at the top bit?
Yeah.
That's not bad. And you can see the normal maps giving it that kind of raised bumpy area.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that's quite cool.
Yeah. And then you got mine. I have to make it bigger because yours is bigger. So it's only fair. So I've got that. Let's rotate it so we got the face there as well. Okay. So we've got that. So yeah, the face looks a little bit better, but like literally, you made the whole thing, and I made a head. So like, when it comes to time and deciding where like your efforts go, these are the sort of decisions you have to make. Like, where do I spend my time? Is it important to get that detail in there, and things like that. So that's the asset. And now notice how this looks fine. Like, it shows it like that bump. But that is literally that. So when it comes to detail, like, you really have to sort of look at like what's important and what's not. So I'd actually say like your base is for some reason much better than mine. So well done.
No idea what I did.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so you have a very no, not that one. This one. Okay. And then you've also got like the edges, like the corners there. So when you start looking around objects, I'm going to F that so I can focus on that. So you can look at that. So when you go around, you can still see that bevel on the edges.
Yeah.
And that's just a really neat way to do it. And in your case, did you add the bevel or?
No.
No. But it looks all right.
Skip that part.
Right? So if you look at, like, it's a bit sharper, but it doesn't look bad. You do have the issue where if I look at it from this angle, I see the normal map.
Yeah.
Right? And that's one of the problems with, so that, like, this angle looks great. And that angle looks fine, but this angle, you start getting some issues with those sort of things. Whereas if you look at my one, it's less of a problem. For example.
Yeah, which is why.
So
Yeah, I see that.
Sometimes the bevel is important, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it depends on what kind of shapes you're making.
I think for the effort it takes to put on, it's worth doing because it's not very much effort.
Yeah,
really.
especially with something like that. So that was literally just a bevel. But like, say for example, on a more complex object, you might not want to spend the time on that sort of tactic. If that makes sense. So let's get this sort of aligned. Like, really compare the two.
It'll be really interesting to see what the kind of limits are with Mona and Unity, to see how many of these photogrammetry objects you could get in.
Yeah, the big
I
one
guess
there.
If
like,
retopologize.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So it's not the polygon count, because the polygon count here so far anyway. Now, if I did my head around the band, that would probably add a little bit, but not that much, to be honest, for the detail that you're adding. So if it was a hero object, then yes, you could 100% do that. Once again, LODs would help that. So I would maybe use your asset as is at a distance, and I wouldn't see the detail. So that would be fine. And then I have your poly count. Whereas if I was up close with it, I would use my object with the detail. So level of detail is a huge performance saver with these sorts of things. And with our powers combined, we're halfway there already. So having 1, 2, 3 levels of level of detail is very useful. So let's do this. So let's turn your one around to the face. That's when it starts getting interesting. But if you look at the base here, like, this is basically the same. And remember, I've played with Blender a lot, and you played with it not much, but the result is the same for something like this. So
Well, it was a flat plane right at the bottom, isn't it? So
yeah. So once again, like the silhouette, this bit here versus yours, once again, yours would be great for level of detail. Mine would be good for getting close. But
Definitely.
and that shape here, but when you hide it, like, it's less obvious. So if you think about it, like, my character is going to be this high. Like, is it important? No. Yours is fine for this size object. Right?
Oh, I see what you mean, where it's getting bigger, like a, what did you call it, a hero object? Like something you're looking at a lot.
Yeah. So if I get right up close to it, if this was eye height, and I was going to look at it, then yeah, I would probably move towards mine. But for this asset, if it was this height, I probably would actually just say yours is better, because I'm a big believer on every polygon counts.
Right.
So
you hate the way I work then.
yeah. So we have that. But that said, like here, like maybe, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So I'd add maybe 1 in here. So you got that slight groove here. So these are the sort of decisions you make. Where do I want that detail? I've added, let's have a look. Here. So this line here, maybe this line here, this line here, and this line here, not needed. So I could get 3 of those edge loops gone. And when you're looking at 4 sides, that actually adds up pretty quick. So I think your edge here is fine. But on the inside, mine is slightly better.
Oh, for sure.
Because I've got that point here, that point here. You don't have that point. So I would add 1 point here, but keep this. Because yours is better. Because we don't need that detail. So yeah, it's definitely a balance of how big is it? How much texture does it need? How big a texture am I going to bake this onto? So note this is a 2048 by 2048. So if we go to our textures, let's play with this a bit, shall we? So here it's 2048. So if I made all of these here, 2048, and apply, that is what we imported it as. So let's say, let's make all of them 1024. Gets a little fuzzier. But once again, if I'm here, no difference. I can't see the difference at all at 1024. If I made it 512 though, even at a distance, like, you're definitely starting to see it. And then of course there's 32. But you can add this in Mona and see the quality that you want it at, and you move these down and up as you need to. So I think 1024 was fine. No difference at this distance. But once again, if this was a hero object, I would change that.
So 32 was like super blurry, but that might be fine for like objects like buildings or something way off in the distance.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. But that said, if you're doing a building way, I would use like a 16 by 16 with a blue square, a gray square, and just like trim sheet the hell out of it. So yeah, different approaches for different things. But for detail objects, yes, this would be one approach. And then of course, sometimes you might want the normal map to be high if there's a lot of detail in it. But the diffuse is low. So I could maybe push these back up to 2048. And if the lighting is important, then that might make a difference. Or the vice versa. I might make this to 512. Hardly notice the difference. So the diffuse is very important, but the normal is a little bit less so. So always choosing what works, what doesn't, what is the level of everything we create is a super useful tool in the whole process. So now that we have this simple example, I'm going to, let's do a quick box collider. Now, notice how yours is slightly rotated. Now, because of that, we can't put a box collider on it. I could put a mesh collider, And on yours, that's fine because your mesh isn't too complicated. But I'm going to show how to rotate a box collider. So I'm going to create an empty game object. So right mouse click on space, create empty, and then add a box collider on it. And then choose the empty game object, and then I can rotate that. Like so. So I can grab the object that I made, I put a box collider on it, click on this, go to here, rotate it, there, and then adjust with this little button here.
Oh, cool. So
we want that sort of high so we can jump on it, because that's very important in monospaces, incidentally.
Yeah.
So that would be how you would do a rotated box collider. If I added a box collider to your asset, like so, I can't rotate it. Like, I would have to rotate the whole thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right? So if you need a box collider which is very performant, but you want to rotate it, you can do that with an empty game object. And that would do that. Now, in my case, I think I rotated it. I was straight, right? So let's try... Yeah. So in my case, I was a right angle in Blender. So mine's straight. So I could do that.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. So that helps. And once again, like before exporting, if you've finished and you've done all that, you could definitely fix that up afterwards. Even if you make a duplicate, so you can edit the original and stuff like that. So there's definitely ways around it. So let's move that over here. I feel like mine's smaller because you did more stuff. So I'm going to make mine a bit bigger.
I just went higher up, pretty much.
I think that's basically it. All right. So we have our spawn point. It's good. And then we can just go playground. It has an issue.
Yeah.
QA is great. Now, what's happened is these two objects are outside of the space object. All of your assets in Mona have to be in either artifacts, portals, or space. So these are outside of it. It tells you where they are. Minimum, just drag it in there. But I'm going to put it in the assets folder. So when I close that, I can do that. I'm going to put Collater in there as well. Go QA, and that'll be fine. So the best way to test it is 1, QA, or 2, collapse everything. And as long as it looks like that, you'll be good to go. Usually. Build a playground. The folder with the exports file will come up, and the window for the playground will come up automatically. So we have this, and we have our asset.
Jump on our hard work, aren't you?
Sorry?
You're going to jump on our hard work.
So just grab and drag and drop. Ta-da. And there we go. We have our 2 photogrammetries.
Awesome.
And I can't run it. Oh. Why? Mine's okay. Eh? Why?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Looks okay to me.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, because I moved your object, but I didn't move the collider. So if I wanted to make sure that that's okay, I'm going to drag and put that as a child. And then I want to move your object. Wrong child. That one. So when I move your asset, the collider will go with it.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's what I did there. So I'm just going to zero these out. No, keep that. And fix this quickly. Semi-quickly.
You should make you should then make a giant one of each next to us.
Correct.
Cool. There we go. So is it easy to then duplicate those assets?
Yes.
Just make them giant.
So I could grab that, Control D. Ta-da!
Yeah. Ah, cool.
Now, once again, because the collider is a child of that object, like it will grab everything under whatever the asset that you've collected is. So that's not an issue with that sort of thing there. So we have our 2 small versions and our 2 big versions, and then there we go.
What about...
Cool.
Where's your little polygon?
All right, any other changes before we test it for the final time?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay. Playground. Now, small note, I highly recommend like deleting this after you've used it, because sometimes if you build to the playground and it has a file there, it won't update it. So after you've tested it on the playground, delete the playground files. So now there's nothing in there, and now I can build. I will 100% know that it is updated. So sometimes, like, so if you look at the exports folder here, if I build now, super quick, because it doesn't update. So this build would be the previous build because I didn't delete it between the two. I don't know if it's saving or deleting, but deleting will always make a new one. So that could be part of it as well. Drag and drop.
There we go.
There we go. Can't walk in. Can't walk in. Can't walk in. Can't walk in. Can jump on. Ah! So close. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, the smaller ones definitely look better. But then
well, that's the thing. So that's the thing you have to figure out is what resolution works. Now, let's do a quick test on... And once again, I'm going to delete that. Just to make sure. So the resolution... So the big... Yeah, these are smaller. So let's put all of these back up to 2048.
Oh, I see.
See if that makes a difference. So notice, yeah, updated. So pretty important because, yeah, like a lot of people was like, why isn't it updating? It's because you haven't deleted it. So it looks better, 100%. So yeah, the size of the texture depends a lot on the size of the object that you're doing, because that's how many pixels are taking up the space. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's definitely better.
Yeah.
But
that said, like even if you look at your edge here, your edge on that curve is fine. Like mine is better, sure, but not,
you can really get away with
noticeably so. So yeah, choosing where your polygons go is pretty important. I think I'm happy I'd added the bevel. I think that was pretty important on the corners. That said, I don't know. Is it worth, because like of all of the things going up, you're adding an extra like what, 2? No.
Yeah. It is better. You can tell it's definitely better.
Yeah, but is it worth the cost? So on the small one, maybe no. On the big one, maybe.
Yeah.
But borderline, and like it's a lot of polygons because there's a lot of detail going up, and each row that you've done, the bevel is adding, what is it, like 4 polygons times how many loops you do going up. So it really adds up for a very small improvement. So it is improved, but is it worth hundreds of polygons for that small change? So between that and that, maybe no. That said, if it was slightly more, like it's slightly more curved, maybe. But
I just still find that saying that this runs in the browser. It's great.
Sorry?
I just find it crazy that this runs in the browser.
Yeah.
As well.
That's the thing that got me with Mono at the start, is the fact that it's like I pressed 2 buttons and this was running in a browser and I was like, blah. So yeah, that to me that's the biggest thing, is that you can do amazing things in browsers, and if you're good at like game dev, especially older game dev, because it's WebGL, we've lost about 5 years, maybe 10, depending on how you use it. So we're not going to get Cyberpunk 2077 in this anytime soon.
No.
But like we could do some pretty great things on a lot of the assets we make. So yeah, very powerful. Looking forward to seeing where it goes. So yeah, this is a quarter of photogrammetry, but hopefully you learned something. We'll probably wrap it up there, I think. But good stream, man. Hopefully you picked some stuff up.
Yeah, it's been really useful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll do this again at some point. We'll do some specific other tutorials, but for now, this has been really useful.
Yeah. No, Blender's definitely a case of practice. Like, a lot of it's like, oh, okay, now I know how to do it, but then you'll spend the next 3 weeks figuring out, okay, how do I do it well? So that practice thing it's just a time thing. A lot of the skills any skill, to be honest, is mostly practice. Like 95% practice and that 5% of learning at the start. So, yeah.
And also relearning, remembering, what did you say, which button was that?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've got that with programming now. So I learned C# in Unity for a little bit, and I've made like a choose your own D&D book, like has dice and all the rest of it. But if I look at my own code that I did really good commenting, is like, who wrote this? It's like, I can't do this. It's clearly not me. It's like, yeah, I did everything on this. It's really weird. So yeah, but 3D is the same thing. It's just like really good at one thing or intermediate at everything. I sort of went with the latter.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean, but it's just exposure. The longer you're exposed to a piece of software, you'll just pick it up.
100%. 10,000 hours, which I think is like debunked, but it's kind of got the idea right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been like Blender and Unity. I think Unity's probably easier than Blender. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot in Unity you can do, but it seems to be for what I want to do at least. I need to use Blender before I can even think about using Unity. I'm going to gather all of my assets in Blender and get them all sorted, and then think about Unity. But for what I want to do, it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, and also depends on what you want to do. So Blender's like, you can do video editing in Blender. Like, it's weird. It does everything. I'd like to learn more on sculpting because ZBrush was bought by Maxon, so I'd like to move away from ZBrush maybe. That said, current ZBrush is great, but there is no more ZBrush, basically. So, that said, like, current ZBrush is super powerful, and I'm very good at it because I've been using it for a very long time. But being able to just stay in Blender for sculpt so I can bake and do everything in Blender, like, the benefits of ZBrush are getting to the point where it might counter just being able to stay in one asset. So, like, I have to figure out the pipeline, and, like, sometimes I'll go to ZBrush, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I go to Painter, sometimes I won't. So it's just a case of finding the pipeline, knowing the tools that do what you want them to when you need them, and using them as you do. Most people will come up with one mostly same pipeline, but occasionally they'll just, like, go off in a little bit of a spectrum or a tangent for whatever that particular task is. So there's lots. There's everything is lots.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Excellent. That was a lot of fun. Let's do it again sometime. I think we should do like a Unity one at some point. I think that'll be really good. Once I get back from New York and LA, let's look into maybe doing a Unity session.
Yeah, like sort of basics, kind of the stuff you've just done, really. But just in a bit more detail would be good.
Yeah, and you actually have Unity. That would help.
Yeah, that was a dumb mistake.
Yeah, just know that installing Unity takes a while. Like, it's surprisingly long.
I remember.
But yeah, just make sure that you put the WebGL asset on as well. That's pretty important. So you can do it afterwards, but it saves time to do it at the start. But yeah, all right.
Yeah, I'll definitely get it done. Awesome. Well, until then, dude, I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll do. Or I'll see you in New York. You're going to be in New York?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, I'll see you in New York.
Cheers, buddy. Catch you later.
Catch ya. All right, thanks all for coming. Hope you learned something, and I'll leave you to it. Have a good everything. Catch you later. Bye.